Create, Build, and Manage Daily is brought to you by Centerpost Media. Let us help tell your story. Go to centerpostmedia.com for details.
How can art inspire creativity with your work? LaDara McKinnon is the owner of LaDara Fine Art, and she joins us here to help us understand the power of art. LaDara, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time. How can art inspire creativity?
So I feel like art can create activity by just being able to express yourself and just be able to, see yourself in a different light and to see others.
Sure. And I want to kind of get into your art and how you create it. But I was just thinking, when people are working in a business environment, we're a business show. We got a lot of business leaders that watch the show. Often the art in the room can really help set the mood, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Now let's talk about your art, because you work hard for your art to reflect your authentic self. What does that mean?
Yes. That means just putting myself out there and being truly who I am, like flaws and all. I live and deal with dyslexia, but I continue to run a business and try to spread the message of joy and light and being creative.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know a lot of people also struggle with what you're talking about. I want to talk about the process, what it's like for an artist to get your work from a concept, and we see some images we have on the screen where you're working some of your art there, to get it from a concept to actually being sold, because that's a huge leap for a lot of artists who are brand new. So walk me through that process again. Concept in your mind, painting something, and then actually being able to sell it.
Well, I feel like there is self-expression. So that's one way of just going, just diving in. And then there's also the way of actually experimenting before you actually get to that actual concept, or doing like a sketch or something like that to be able to get you to that release onto canvas or whatever surface you're waiting on.
Well, art is really subjective, right? A lot of people look at different things, what's art to one person, to another person. But often it's a hobby, and I'm not in any way negating that, because I think if you're an artistic and you can do it, whether it's on the side, that's awesome. But you've crossed that threshold where it's not just a hobby, it's your business. It's how you make a living. So how do you know as an artist when you're ready to cross over? Because there's a lot of people right now, they're like, man, I'm doing art on the side, but they haven't made that leap. So I'm curious from your standpoint, because you've made that journey of going from just doing art to it becoming your livelihood. What advice would you offer other artists to know this is when you know you're ready?
I feel like if there is that momentum behind your work, like people are already purchasing from you, you're kind of making a good salary, quote unquote. I feel like that's when you can kind of start to transition into making it your full-time job. It also comes down to like, are you willing to learn about business to be able to make this successful, or are you trying to just keep it more of like a hobby?
Well, that's an excellent point for sure, because at the end of the day, and you've alluded to a couple of times, it is a business, right? There are P&Ls, there are things, supplies you have to pay for and things of that nature. So I'm kind of curious for you, LaDara, was it something that someone mentored you on the business side, or did you have to just bootstrap it and learn it on your own?
I honestly, when I decided to take my art from hobby to I want to be a full-time artist, I started to work in the industry, just working at different studios, seeing how that business side works. And then I also took different business classes and courses to be able to learn how to actually run a business. And that helped a lot to be able to get where I'm in right now.
That's brilliant. What would you say your biggest surprise was when you're learning the process of running a business, something that you maybe didn't think about before you got started?
Oh, that's a good question. I think actually having a balance. I think that would have to be like having a life and a business balance, and being able to take breaks. Because when you're working for someone else, you're kind of like, you get the weekends off or you get holidays off. But if you're running your own business, holidays are a huge factor in that. So it's kind of like balancing, being able to spend time with your family and also being able to do like a holiday sale or releasing a new collection.
Well, and I would think that would be even harder in your craft, because you get into painting and you get into doing artwork because you enjoy it. And there's that level of, man, if you can do what you love, you never work a day of your life. And I get that, but you also never get a day off. I mean, used to, I'm sure art was your release, and now that's your job. How do you find that balance?
Oh man, it's really about, I like to schedule out things, and I like to work ahead of time, and just being able to set a little bit of boundaries in place of like, you know what, today, these 3 days, I'm really going to spend with my family, and then these hours and days, I'm really going to work on my business. I
like that. I want to put your website up. Before we let you go. It's LaDaraMcKinnon.com. We have it there. And this is, by the way, gorgeous artwork. You are in the abstract art world.
Thank you.
But this is where people can go and find your artwork. And when clients reach out to you, because I've talked to different artists on this show, some artists do custom projects, some do painting that they sell. Where do you land in that?
I love doing commissions and connecting with my community and clients. Awesome. I really feel like that is a time to build relationship with your client, also being able to collaborate with them on something that is great. Timeless for them, that is personal to them, showing their story. That's awesome. That is one of my favorite things about my job, is connecting with my community and clients.
LaDara, great stuff. I appreciate your time and sharing that story. You've given me some things I hadn't thought about before. Stick around. This is Create, Build, and Manage Daily.